Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles Podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. Check them out at huntworthgear.com. And right now through the 22nd, get over to their winter clearance event and check it out. 20 to 50% off everything on the website. And again, right now I'm wearing the Grayling hoodie. My favorite piece of gear from Huntworth, fingerless merino gloves, another one of my favorite things over there. Check those out. And Latitude's got a big sale going on as well on their website. Check that out at latitudeoutdoors.com. Just got back from the NRA show with those guys. Thanks to everybody that came out, stopped by, said hi. Always a fun time. Long, grueling show, but great to see everybody. Just, love getting out there, getting people in saddles. And if you're listening to this and you have one of the Latitude Method 3s or Lone Star, reach out, let us know. There's a little ongoing battle between Greg Litzinger and myself on which saddle is better, the Lone Star or the Method 3. I am team Method 3. He has defected and is now team Lone Star. Great saddles, but I prefer the extra padding and everything that comes with the Method 3. Never was a fan of the 2-panel, but the added padding is just amazing in the Method 3. So if you've got one of those, if you tried them both, let me know which one is your favorite. But check those out, latitudeoutdoors.com. Today's podcast is going to be with a good friend of mine. Known him for a long time, been doing this for a long time. Another fellow Marine, Eric Clark, Okayest hunter. Just a fun podcast talking about, his whole mantra. It's his, your tag, you shoot what you want, the whole thing, you do what you want with your tag. All that stuff. We have that discussion, and it's always fun talking with Eric. We talk a little bit of turkeys. Fun discussion. As always, thanks for listening. Enjoy the episode. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles Podcast. And while you may know me as the world's worst bow hunter, I just happen to have the okayest hunter with me. And Eric Clark, while he may be the okayest hunter, he's probably like in the space, one of the most humble, like moguls, I would say, from the podcasting side. And you might not think about it. You may think, okayest hunter, whatever. But from guys that are paying attention, I mean, that's really, really what's happening. So I think a lot of us that are out here have a ton of respect for, everything that Eric's doing and the way that he's done it. It is one of those, overnight successes that's taken 15 years. So how you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm good, man. I'm finally healthy from SHOT Show like a month ago. I don't know how you get laryngitis from SHOT Show, but I did. And a sinus infection to boot. So finally, I think fully recovered from that. I might have a couple coughs here and there, but I'm good, man. It's good to see you. We've been at this for a while, you and I. So
yeah.
The whole success. I don't think we've had the success that would make us worthy of that phrase. But have you ever read the book? I think it was Atomic Habits by James Clear that talked about the effect of latent potential, where I'm going to get the analogy wrong, but he talked about if you had like an old ice chest, like a big old block of ice in a room, and you had to heat up the room to get it to melt. But it's like just rewind the clock back to when you had to get firewood to heat a stove. So you had to go chop wood, get kindling, get the fire burning. You're sweating your butt off. You're going out in the cold. You're doing all this work, and it takes forever. The room gets hot. But until it gets to 32 degrees, you don't see any noticeable change or difference. So, like, you could be hanging out at, 28 degrees from negative 15 for a long time, and, like, I feel like we're right there. But I always feel that way. In reality, the room's probably 0 degrees, and it was probably maybe heated up from, like, negative 30, so we're on our way. But until you hit that 32 and the ice actually visually starts to melt, people are like, oh, look at the ice is melting. It heated the room. It took a lot of effort for a long time to see that difference or that change.
Yeah. That book is great. I've probably listened to that book 15 times. I mean, I listen to all my books because I get very passively, you get 10 good minutes here and then 10 good minutes there. And by listening to it over and over, you finally piece it together to try and catch it all, So when did you record your first podcast? Like, what year was that?
Oh, I don't know, 2012 or 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first one ever was with Jared Scheffler with Whitetail Adrenaline, and he said yes, and I was like, oh my God, what? I was not prepared for him to say yes. I thought it was a long shot because in my mind, he was the most famous guy I could think of. And I was like, I've never done this before. I can't believe he said yes to the first episode. It was quite hilarious.
And I've not gone back and listened to any of my first ones because I'm just so ashamed, scared, whatever. But like, have you gone back and listened to it?
No, I'm sure it's terrible. Like, I'm sure it's terrible no matter, like, most of my episodes are pretty stupid anyways. Like, as far as my part in them, but there's no way it's any good at all.
The thing about that one is like, that's a really interesting, like, first episode because it's extremely searchable. Like, Jared Scheffler podcast.
Yeah. What happens if you search it? I wonder.
And is it, have you like merged everything over to the Okayest Hunter?
Yeah, it's still, like, if you go far enough back on the Okayest Hunter YouTube channel, you can scroll to the archives and find it. It's probably the first thing that sits there. And it was just audio. There was no video then. We were using Skype and Pamela to record, which is funny that I remember that. People are like, what? It's a totally different world now, obviously. The bar that has been lowered. There's only like a handful of people even doing a podcast, let alone doing a podcast in the hunting industry. It was like me and Mark Kenyon. That's kind of it.
Yeah, I can't even think. I don't even think I listened to a podcast probably until 2015 or 2016. And in my mind, it was only known people or private land. That's why we started our podcast, was just because, like, the thing I always said is, like, there was not a podcast about people not shooting anything. Like, that was the whole thing. Like,
yeah,
none of it was relatable to me. So I was like, well, we have these conversations, like, let's record them. Somebody else is saying the exact same thing, right?
Yeah, probably. That's kind of how we built our brand, is like, I can't be the only idiot that's forgotten his release. Stuff like that. Like, every time I shared another flaw of mine, everyone's like, me too. I was like, man, this keeps happening. I'm not as stupid as I think. Everyone else is right there with me. We've all made the mistakes.
So the Okayest Hunter, right, is, I guess I associate it with deer. Like, deer is king, but, like, so are you doing any other hunting? Like, what is with you now with trade shows and all the other things that you're doing, like, is there room for other hunting to mess up?
Yeah. At least on the Okayest Hunter podcast, whitetail takes the stage because that's, like, what we care about and do, and that's what you can come to expect. It's the logo. We'll talk about turkey hunting, and turkey season is a pretty short blip anyway, so it's not a big deal. It usually takes up like a month of our calendar in terms of like content on the podcast. But yeah, we started bolting on other shows, and not bolting on, but like home growing them under our own umbrella from the ground up. And so we have a fishing podcast and trapping and bowyer and cooking and all sorts of other shows that kind of live in other outdoor categorical veins. And they all kind of understand our brand ethos, message, mission, tone, so forth. So you can get a similar vibe in terms of like not having ego and being relatable and sharing some of the missteps without having like an elitist kind of vibe to it. Like we don't have that. So all the shows on our network kind of pull from the same rope, and but all have their own bend, and all have their own hosts that like are really great people that do really cool, way cooler stuff than I do. I'm pretty envious of a lot of the guys on the network. They have really nice, well, seemingly really cool lives, and have some really fun hobbies.
But that's what I was meaning, like for you personally, because I mean, when I think of like the Okayest hunter, like I think of Eric Clark as the Okayest hunter, you know, like so.
Yeah, I deer hunting is that's what I love the most. That's what I care about the most. And because I love it so much, it's hard for me to give a crap about anything else as much as I do a deer. So I'm trying to find some time in my life. This is a really dense year for me and my family. My wife's in school for a master's program, and she's working in that same field while momming, and our kids have extracurriculars. Like I've never felt busy the way that I feel now ever in my life. It feels very difficult. So I want to take up small game hunting, but like when am I going to do that? Like what? But I want to, and usually when I want to do something, I find a way to make it happen. So it's just a matter of time before I weasel my way into another hobby. But turkey hunting and turkey season, I usually get, whatever period Wisconsin has, I get the leftover tags, and I'll go out with somebody and try to kill a bird. I don't mind it. It's fun. I hate mosquitoes and ticks, so that part sucks. But I like being out in the spring. I've come to enjoy the awakening of the woods in the spring. I've never really experienced the woods that way up until I started turkey hunting, because I'm always out there when things are dying, not coming to life. So, yeah, fishing, but like I'm not. I'll throw like a MEPS 4, and that's kind of like it. I'll catch pike and largemouth. I don't have even, like, my tackle box is probably enough for a kid. Like I don't have a lot of stuff. So keep it pretty simple.
So you're turkey hunting, like, did you, like, so I never grew up turkey hunting at all. Like my dad, I think my grandpa turkey hunted, like, and that was just maybe to pass the time or something, but my dad never turkey hunted. So it wasn't until I met my wife that I turkey hunted. So like, did you get into it just like through the podcast and through people that way?
Yeah, actually, that's how I did get into it. It wasn't, my dad doesn't turkey hunt. He never really had. Maybe he'd done it once or something, but nothing I ever heard about. And I think just doing the podcast, I was like, you got to try this. You got to go. So finally my arm got twisted enough that I went, and I got a bird on my first hunt. But it wasn't a guided hunt, but it was basically a guided hunt. Greg Tubbs set me up in a cornfield in a corner, set up some decoys. Matt Strime, who hosts the turkey, or the Okayest Fisher podcast, he also owns his own company making calls, like pot calls. So those two guys set me up. Matt's calling. Turkey comes right into the decoy. I blast it in the face. I was like, well, that felt easy. And no wonder it felt easy. I had these guys that know what they're doing come and do it for me, basically. All I do is pull the trigger. I'd gone the year before, didn't see anything. I went last year with Anthony Heller with deer vein, I think it was last year, and didn't get one. Came close. Maybe it was 2 years ago with Anthony. And then last year went with turkey camp with our group, all our podcast guys here locally, and it was super fun. Had some close encounters, but they never committed. So I'm starting to enjoy like the calling and the game and the back and the forth and the time of year, and like it's a little less serious than deer hunting, so I can appreciate that. Deer hunting I take surprisingly pretty serious, so it can get stressful. In contrast to turkey, I'm like, it's a stupid turkey. I don't really care.
So are you learning to call? Like,
yeah, I have a pot call. That I have a mouth call, a diaphragm call. I practice a lot in my front yard when the turkeys come around to the bird feeder, and I mess with all the birds in the neighborhood. So my wife gets really annoyed. Of like, turkey! And I go get the mouth call off the counter that's sitting there all slopped up from like whatever. And I meow, 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 when they call back, and I think it's the best thing in the world. My kids think I have a crow call. I called in a bunch of crows, so the kids are waiting for the bus the other day, and it was freaking mayhem, man. I must have called in like 25 crows, and the kids were getting stressed out because they're like, they're gonna get us. I was like, no, they're just crows. So it's fun.
Yeah, that's so my similar. For me, like my father-in-law, he used to go and be the guy at the booth at the shows, like repping the call. So, I mean, he can call turkeys forever. And so like, I've learned to call a little bit, but like you said, like it's just a stupid turkey. And so we've taken to bow hunting them, and I've killed one with a bow. I've shot at a dozen of them. I don't know. I've messed up so many times, so many easy, like bow hunts. But I mean, just, 7 yards, frickin' 6 yards, shot the decoy.
What are you doing wrong? What do you think?
Well, like just shot angle, the turkeys, everything that you think about with a turkey, the vitals are really small. They're when they're strutted up, they're feathers are really big. So, the one, I think the last one that I missed or winged or whatever, it was just like the last hunt before we went on vacation, and I was getting ready for tack, and I'd taken my quiver off my bow, and I thought I forgot my quiver. So I had one arrow, called in these turkeys right to the decoy, shot right. I thought I stoned this turkey. I mean, I thought it was perfect. And what I ended up doing is I shot like basically right, like I put it on his beard and I shot low. And so it just went right through his feathers, like between his legs, and I clipped his leg, but he was like kind of like limping around. And so I thought he was stumbling, like just going to fall over, but I only had one arrow, and these turkeys are just still there wandering around, right out in front of the decoys. I got no blind, no nothing. I'm just watching. I mean, I shot one in the wing butt, missed one with the trad bow, trying to shoot it in the head. I like short drawed that one. That was
that was a shot, dude. Jeez.
I mean, like I said, just everything. Well, so like one of the guys that I know that only hunts with trad bow, and he's right. He's like, the head is the same size as the vitals. So like if you're trying to shoot him in the head, and especially at that distance, he's like, at least with the head shot, you completely miss him or you kill him. Mm-hmm. There's no wounding him. There's no chasing him around. And God, there's videos out there. Like one of the videos on our YouTube is me chasing a turkey that I shot in the wing. Like 100 yards across this field, I'm running after him. Like everything. But the thing is every single one of those hunts, those turkeys would be dead with a shotgun, and you'd be done in 20 minutes.
Yeah, right.
But the thing is that no one's ever been like devastated. Like that was the state record turkey. That was the booner. That was the one. It's just like God dang it. Like, we'll get the next one.
The snake don't feel as high or something.
Yeah, and there's always more, and they're not that smart. Like it's not. I don't know. Maybe down south it's different.
Well, the beard's big. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. What do you do? It's weird. They're just weird animals. I think there's a lot of beauty in them, and there's a lot of history in them. If you talk to Paul, who has a show on our network, the Turkey Season, he's got a passion for turkeys, like probably matches mine for whitetail, or exceeds. It exceeds. He's an incredible dude. He has so much respect for these animals, but like, I'm like, dude, they're ugly. I don't know. They got like weird freaking snood. Their faces are wrinkly. They got fucking dinosaur feet. They got this beard. Like turkey stones and they're just weird freaking animals, man. Like, they're so strange to me, but they're cool.
Yeah. And it's almost unfortunate that you had that experience like the first time. Like it wasn't. Well, what I mean is like I just think about like the first time, I think it was one of the first times like my wife came out turkey hunting with us.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, her dad is like an incredible caller. He called this turkey in, and we couldn't get it to commit to the decoys, and he was on the back side of the tree, and that's where the turkey came in from. And so it just like hung up, like looking at the decoy, because the decoy was looking at the turkey, and it was right next to like my wife, like literally maybe like 3 steps to her left or to her right. And there's a big branch there, so she couldn't turn and shoot it. And it was just spit drumming, and she had never heard that sound before. So she's like, "What's that sound?" And I'm like, "That's a turkey. Like, don't move. Like, that's a turkey." And then, but she couldn't see it. Then she finally caught like a little bit of movement, and the turkey had come just far enough forward that he could hit the call again. And he just touched that call, and that turkey gobbled right there at like,
That's
3
exciting.
steps.
Yeah.
And she about jumped out of her skin. Like, it hammered right on top of us. And, to have that happen, or just to have one come in silent and then gobble on top of you or something like that. But, when you have one that they call in just straight across the field, you know exactly what's going to happen. And it just plays out like it's supposed to, It's like, I don't know. There's so many things that can go wrong in the turkey woods, and especially like when I've missed one turkey with a shotgun, and that was because I was trying to call one for my dad, and I kept moving back and kept moving back and kept moving back. And the turkey was hung up, and it just was strutting. You could tell he was strutting down there and just gobbling. Well, a Jake had snuck in silently between us, and I just had the gun laying next to me, and I'm calling, and I look over, and there's a Jake right there, just comes up over the hill. And so I just rolled over, grabbed the gun, and shot from the hip at him. And that's the only one I've ever missed with the shotgun. I mean, like, otherwise, when they get in that zone, I mean, they're just dead. Like,
yeah, they're fun. They're not the toms, as far as I understand. I'm not the expert by a long shot. They're designed to call the females to them. So when you try to pull them, it's like you're going against nature. It's unnatural. So the fact that you can at all, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to hang up here because I'm big and I'm doing my strut. You got to come to me. And then when they don't, they're like, what the heck? It's kind of a funny thing if you think about it.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's super fun. So I'm glad that I've gotten into it, but I'm also like, again, like a little bit jaded because I've had a good caller for a long time, and then I haven't I can't say like, oh, I figured it out, but like I've called in enough turkeys now that I'm confident that I can do it. So it's like, and we have tons of birds here. Like what's the population like over by you?
It's pretty good. I think the DNR, has done a really good job managing it. In our state, we have periods, so like it's not a draw system, but it's kind of like first come, first serve for various periods. So it's spread out, and you could, if I got like multiple periods, I could kill multiple birds. I just do the one period, whatever I get. It's usually late season because I always forget to buy the tags. So first come, first serve doesn't apply to me because I'm not first. But yeah, I think the population is fairly healthy. There's different parts of the states where maybe it ebbs and flows, but I mean, man, you see them flocked up in fields like all over the place. Looks like a bunch of trash bags out in the fields. Probably in the next month or two, it's just going to look like there's turkeys everywhere. It's cool. It's a fun time.
So one thing you had mentioned there, one thing I like about turkey hunting too, is you had said that you did it like a camp and you were with a bunch of guys and stuff like that. Like, is that like part of your like deer season as well? Because like I think like the further we get into this like big buck mentality, or like you try to be a serious deer hunter, like a lot of times it becomes very much a solo endeavor. Like you're doing it on your own. So like that camp aspect of it, or like the camaraderie part, is like one thing that we talk about a lot here. So how is it like on the other side of Lake Michigan, like for you over there?
I mean, deer camp is basically a state holiday. For the gun opener, which is always the weekend before Thanksgiving, for deer, is I mean, there's over 600,000 people that take to the woods. They call it the Blaze Orange Army for a reason. I think it's more people with guns than like some nations. I think it's like by number of people, like the top 5 armies of the world or something like that, just with people hunting in Wisconsin. Turkey camp, I don't think it has the same like adoption across the state in that sense. I think people enjoy it, but because it's all these different periods, it's very much spread out. So it's I feel like it's really family friendly. A lot of people, from what I can tell, like to bring their kids hunting. You're usually in a blind, whether it's a Newcomb and you're behind one, or you're in some like pop-up or something like that, or if you're on private and you're in like some hard blind. It's a great way to introduce kids because the stakes aren't as high. It's fairly nice weather in the springtime, short of maybe rain and stuff. But if you're in a blind, you're staying dry and warm, and it's interactive. There's more going on. You don't have to worry about scent and all that stuff, so you can eat. It's like when the bird starts to show up, then you got to stop moving and be quiet. But other than that, like the kids can kind of do their thing. I had my kid with me, with some buddies up in northern part of the state this last spring with a friend. And we just hunted on their property. He's got a lot of land. They built a house, so we just took the, I don't know, whatever, the side-by-side to the other end of the property. He popped up a blind. We sat in there. He had his son, I had mine. And his kid shot one. It was a youth turkey hunt. And so literally he had the gun on a bipod, and the kid shot it. He's 4 years old and shot his first bird. It was pretty neat. Brought our daughters the morning before that. They were just on their iPads, hanging out, a couple of girls. And like, we heard turkeys, nothing really showed up. So like, it was cool to hear that, be up with the kids in the morning, do the thing. So to answer your question about camp, we did a camp with me, the Okayest Fisher guys, Matt and Greg, and then Derek and Tyler had all gone to camp. Derek brought his son Gus, and we went to Governor Dodge State Park in Wisconsin, and we camped, and it was awesome. It was like one of the better times I've had doing anything. And then we, left camp and we went turkey hunting. And when we were having shit luck with the birds, we went to all the trout streams in the area of the driftless, and we went and caught trout. So it was a bit of like a surf and like bird kind of adventure, and it was really fun. It was a good time. But certainly I don't think it's got the same gravitas and like adoption across the state as like deer camp does. But you're right about the solo endeavor stuff, man. Maybe that's just part of like the rite of passage. Like you feel like you got to go earn it or figure it out or do it on your own or try it. I kind of felt like I was going to do that a couple of years at deer camp. Like, I'm going to go actually kill a big buck, guys. I'm going to go here and do badass stuff, and I'm going to thermals and blah, 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 blah. And it just kind of sucked the fun out of it. Like, no one at deer camp cares. There's 600,000 people in the woods. It doesn't matter. Like, your tactics maybe apply to a degree, and you could certainly make it happen. I know Derek does in the Northwoods. He kind of plays off the pressure a little bit, but he's still out there to have fun and do his thing. There's one guy in our deer camp that takes it pretty seriously. I was like, bro, I'm barely even doing scent control. This is gun season. Bow, when I got to get 15 yards from these animals, like, I care a lot about everything, and I'm by myself. Gun, I'm like, give me my Uncrustables and like, I don't know, a bag of sunflower seeds. I'm going to hang out in the woods for a while, and hopefully a deer walks in front of me, because it's getting shot at from every angle from here to Timbuktu. It's just different.
Why do you, you've been doing this longer than I have, and you've taught, just inevitably talked to more people than I have, right, about hunting and culture and big bucks and whatever. So what do you think it is that like drives people to that? Like, is it ego? Do you think it is that rite of passage? Do you think it is, why?
I don't know. Probably a number of things. Challenge, like, as outdoorsmen and women, I think we look to the outdoors to challenge us a little bit in some way, to test ourselves, to see what we're made of, what we're capable of. And you plot this thing on the map on the horizon. You're like, I'm going to do it. And you push against that goal and see if you can do it. You see someone else kills a big buck. You're like, well, if they can do it, I can probably do it. And so you try, and then you realize it's actually really hard. especially on public land in densely populated areas. It's really, really hard. And if you're not doing it that way, it's equally as hard to do it on private land. Unless you have like old money and you've like just been gifted some stuff, like you got to work your ass off to be able to afford private land. And then once you buy it, that comes with its own host of problems. Like you could burn that property up real quick with your own footprint and pressuring it. So you got to pick your time and your access, and you got to plant your food plots and create your soft edges and do whatever people do to manage the land. And maybe if your neighbors aren't doing things a certain way, like you might never see a big buck on your property. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. I don't own property. So both have their challenges, but I mean, for me, I want to just know if I could do it. I wanted to know, like, can I do it? And an older age class, mature deer is wiser. So if I kill that one, maybe I'm a better hunter. I don't know. But if I do it during the rut, it's kind of like the guys that do it early season, that pattern deer. I have a lot of schools of thought here, so I'm trying to figure out how I want to like articulate this. It's difficult no matter what. It's hunting. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It's like you're basically hanging out with Murphy's Law in the woods. It's like a real thing, in my opinion. So everything has to go right for you to actually get it done. And that's with most deer, let alone a big one. Once you hit it, though, I think, and I'm barely speaking from experience, the biggest deer I have is barely 140 inches. So, like, I can't speak. I've not shot 170 or anything like that, or 150. But I think the one I got made me feel like at least I checked the mature buck box a little bit. It was like a 4-year-old deer. And I believe I've also not become a millionaire, that I listen to enough people that once they make the money, they realize that like that wasn't the thing. Once you get the big deer, that's not the thing. Once you strip away all of the stuff, what's actually important is the shared human experience and the camaraderie and relationships you have and who you do it with and how you have memories to look back on. That's the important thing. And when that's all stripped away, you have what's left. Like, is it really the deer? Are you really that egocentric? Like, that's the most important thing you've done in your life is kill an animal that has a nice rack? I think it's about how you treated people and the memories you created in the woods that you remember. At least that's what's starting to stand out in my mind as I age up a little bit. So, yeah, it's like maybe I want to decorate my walls. Like, personally, I want a buck for either side of my fireplace. So, like, as long as I keep hunting every year, I have a chance of making that happen. I get one buck tag for a gun and one buck tag for a bow. It could happen next year. I could do it right then and there. And then what, you know? It could be ego, could be the goal setting, the challenge of pushing yourself. It's probably a combination of most of those things. But I think that we are an industry driven by antlers. I would imagine just as much as women see other women in what would have been magazines is probably now Instagram models and TikTokers and stuff like that like are portraying an image of how women ought to be because they're the ones that are in the swimming suits and putting the makeup on and doing the stuff, and they strive to have that body. We are victim to the bucks that we see, and we want that buck just like the women want that body. I feel like it's probably a very similar machine that exists to prop that up. And it's hard to not be captivated by that and think that that's what you should do. And maybe you should. I don't know. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I think it's all... I've seen behind the curtain. It's all kind of an arbitrage, if you ask me.
It's funny. Like, there's a lot to unpack there. Like, well, I mean...
It's a loaded question.
And rightly so. I mean, I got what I was looking for. You know, like, but if you read like Bobby Worthington's book, right? He's like, save all of your vacation for the rut and just sit the rut funnel and you'll kill a big deer every time. And you said, well, yeah, if you kill it during the rut, it's not that big of a deal. Prior to being on this, like, you know, we were talking about, you know, my buddy Greg Litzinger. Greg hates the rut because these deer are unpredictable. He wants to know what they're going to do so he can kill them when they're predictable. He's like, they're just they're just not making any sense. Anybody can kill him during the rut except for him, and those are his words, not mine. And so he's would rather kill him early season because during the rut they're unpredictable. And then, you kind of like closed it out with like the way that I feel is like, I always say in things that I think, it's very cliche that, somebody's going to have to throw all your mounts away when you die. Like nobody's going to want them. They're not going to care. But I think what people are going to remember is dragging that spike or that doe out of that hellhole and drinking the beers afterwards. And it doesn't matter that, I'd say spike or doe, it could be 6 point, it could be a mutant buck. It doesn't really matter. The point is they're not necessarily going to remember the caliber of animal as much as they're going to remember that experience with their buddies. Like, remember that one time that we had to drag that deer out and the experience that we shared? And so for all my big buck killing buddies or buck shaming buddies or whatever, I say that every little deer that they don't kill, they're robbing me of that experience of dragging out that deer with them. They're taking away that experience of me tracking that deer and sharing the beer with them. So I say that they're being selfish.
I like flipping stuff on its head. I mean, there's no wrong answers here. This is not a black and white scenario. It's highly circumstantial and personal and intrinsic. So like, that's kind of a bit of our shtick is like, it's not my place to say what someone else is going to do. I also don't care. What I have a problem with, I don't know if it's a problem. I can't understand how one grown man cares what another grown man chooses to do with his tag in such a way that you feel compelled to say something about it. Like, I feel like you're probably the same person that would tell someone to mind their own effing business. So then what are you doing? Just shut up. I don't know. It's hard for me. I have a bloody mouth because I bite my tongue all the time, dude. It's crazy how much I don't say because I take a virtual or literal walk around the block before I start commenting because I try to represent the brand. It's me behind the keyboard, but I'm like, the brand is talking, not me. So what I would say is different than the brand would say. But if I'm going to say something, I'm also representing the brand. Like, I'm also tied to the damn thing. So in that sense, I try to be an exemplar, and I never want to fight fire with fire, but believe me, I'm a human being, and I think certain people should probably get punched in the throat too. It's not weakness. It takes a lot more strength to not just go ham on someone in the comments. It takes a lot harder to not just go at it. Because that's the easy route, is to just be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 and then you start doing all the stuff, and I feel like the vampire dude. I don't say blah blah blah, but there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. It's deeply personal, man, and any buck is a memory. There's another school of thought, like, go shoot more does. Yeah, I agree with that. Go shoot more does. Totally. Get the reps in. Get your reps in. So then you're ready for the big one. So you have all your stuff dialed in. So you've been comfortable at full draw with a deer in front of you. Like, there's a lot to unpack with all of that. And I have kind of built the muscle around how to talk about this because I've just been in the trenches. Like, all of the talking points I have are from real life experience talking to people about this stuff for 6 years now. It's not like I have have talking cards or something. It's shaped by what people say, and I listen too. I really take to heart what people have to say, and if people are triggered or they're up in arms, I got this from Paul Campbell, and it was one of the most. I'll take it with me for the rest of my life, in and out of deer hunting. He said he went viral on a turkey hunting post of all things about jakes, and he got, the comment section just was not nice to him, and he's like, well, they care. They're passionate. That's why they're saying these things. They care about it. So right or wrong, they care deeply. So I'm going to talk to them about it. And I was like, dude, that's it. That's if someone's coming at you fervently and enthralled about something and ready to go blow for blow, it's because they care. So that's your common ground. And if you can start from a place of common ground, then you don't have to worry about defenses going up. So even if you just lead with like, oh man, I can tell you care a lot about this by how like, I don't know, vulgar you're being or whatever the thing is. You start there with some acknowledgement, and suddenly now you're having a different conversation. And they're just, I talk about what's happening online a lot because that's what we see and consume and deal with as a population because of the phone that's in our face all the time. In real life, this shit doesn't happen as much. If it did, people would be getting in fistfights a lot. And that's why it doesn't happen in real life, because there's repercussions. So people bite their tongues in real life. But somehow, in front of that keyboard, the cowboy comes out, you know?
Well, I think also, like, those people online, you've had enough conversations in real life to understand that there's a lot of people, even in real life, who think they know or put on that they know a lot more than they do. And I think that a lot of the people that say, well, you know, I shoot these, or I would pass that, or I'd never shoot that, are the same guy that have shot 2 does in his life or whatever, but he's just holding out because he'd never shoot that or whatever. And it's these guys that are just talking out of their ass because they think it's what they're supposed to say or what the big buck killer guys say. Like, there's so much of that too, that they're just following, you know, what they think is the narrative that they're supposed to. And, you know, like yourself, but like me too. I remember I posted a video of me shooting that little 4-point, and I put a big old grip and grin photo, and like people came out of the woodwork saying like, thank you for posting that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, nobody ever posts that. And it's like, well, that's the first deer I've ever killed on camera. I've been trying to get, you know, my people to kill deer on camera. Like, how am I not going to do that? And I don't care. Like, it was the first opportunity that I got to shoot one on camera, and that's what I did, you know, and happy, like, great.
How fragile must someone else's ego be to have to like say something negative about that experience? It's interesting. And there's concerns, but again, going back to Paul's remark about like, well, they care. Well, what do you care about? Do you think by me shooting the deer, I'm killing a deer that would have grown in an age class that you care about? So do you think I'm taking food out of your mouth, so to speak? Because, like, I assure you that a big buck killer, someone that can do it consistently, has never said shit to anybody killing spikes, because they're not playing the same, they're not even the same league. Like, you can't kill that mature deer. Like, if you're only ever killing spikes, like, unless it's serendipity and you're in the rut and like one just strolls by, like, that's unlikely to happen without a ton of effort. And the amount of effort that requires, you got to dip your toes into reality for a minute and realize that, like, you got to have some sacrifices. And there's sacrifices I'm not willing to make to chase big bucks. I'm not missing my kids' stuff for deer. I'm just not. And so if that means I got to shoot a 120, then that's what I'm shooting, because I love hunting. And I want to kill a deer, and I want to fill my freezer, and I want to make memories. I want to have the beer at the tailgate, and I want to drag a deer out. Like, have the stories. And that's where most of the stories come from, is always a drag, because it's a fucking drag. And hard times produce good memories. That's, like, I really believe that. I'm losing my train of thought because I think I'm tired. I was going somewhere with that. Everyone's got their own reason to do what they want to do. I don't know. The fact that someone would have an opinion about it is just wild to me. The concern part is where I was going. So with our logo being a 4-corn, you know, tiny little antler, people think we're promoting shooting spikes. And so then I can get on board with hearing them be like, well, then you need to shoot some does. I'm like, yeah, I agree. We should also shoot does. We're also just not promoting shooting spikes. There's more going on here than that. But I can understand how you would think that at first glance. We're just promoting to shoot whatever you want to shoot. I don't care what that is. As long as you're not poaching or doing something illegal and you're trying to be ethical, I don't care what happens. But people do care because I think it's like, you're harming the population. You're not culling. You're in Michigan, right? Or no, Ohio. Yeah, Michigan. Michigan has been really up in arms about our approach over the last season, when we were putting out a ton of content, which we do in hunting season, we were getting a lot of people in Michigan just like, it's different here. It's different here. It's different here. Kevin Visteson's been on a tirade lately about, I don't know what goes on there, so it's interesting to watch. And he seems like he's got a good approach, and Kevin and I are friends. But they're like, no, people aren't shooting does. I'm like, well, that sounds like a real problem. And so I don't know how to explain to them that that's not what we're trying to promote, is to not do that. So again, I always like to hear the concern. If someone's upset about something, or you did this or you did that, usually there's a reason. My wife just taught me this tonight with our kids. Had our kids hold up a triangle. There's some term, I can't remember, some technical school term, but it was like the triangle of like conscious something for cognitive decisions or something like that, where like one is how you physically feel, like you might feel warm, cold, sick, what you think about that feeling. Am I feeling frustrated, happy, mad, glad? And then the other corner is, well, what are the actions that are coming out of that? And so my kids, all three of them, were fighting tonight. And one was cold. He has Raynaud syndrome, so he calls it pins because it feels like someone's stabbing him. It's uncomfortable. So he's got that. The other kid didn't put socks on, even though I told him to. So he wore his Crocs to the park and got his foot all wet. So he got cold feet. My daughter's tired, so she's just pissed because she's dealing with these two idiot boys of her brothers just fighting constantly. So she's stressed out. And so they're all just going at it. And I was like, one of you feels like you're getting pinpricks and your actions are lashing out and you're feeling frustrated. And that's on, now you're just spitting shrapnel out at people. Usually you can distill to like, oh, my kids are crabby. What's going on? Oh, you're cold, you're having the pin thing. Or, oh, you have an earache. Like, there's usually a root cause. If someone's upset online or in a comment about deer hunting, there's probably a root cause. I just like to think through that before I respond to figure out, like, well, what are you really upset about here? Like, it probably is important to you. You probably care about it. You commented. It's coming off a certain way, which is not maybe okay. Like my kid hitting the other kid with his bike. That's inappropriate. You can't just do that. You can't just go off on people, dude, okay? Especially when he doesn't understand that there's a root cause. So, like, I don't know. I just like to gain perspective first. And I think if we all did that, it'd probably be a little bit better out there. But more and more people are, like you said, are craving, like, relatability, like, authenticity, the moments that aren't perfect, and having more of that camaraderie. And I don't know if that's just because that's the age we are and that's what we start to value more. I don't know, because I'm not sure what the younger people are doing these days. Like, what are the 18-year-olds in the industry doing? What do they care about? I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. I see a lot. I see a lot of. I mean, I feel like the only things that ever like show up from like that age group that isn't. I guess maybe like some of those young kids are doing like some like incredible video work, like
Probably
those young kids are doing that, but otherwise it's those idiots with like the ducks in their mouth or that are laying down next to the deer, like all that dumb stuff, like all the distasteful things, but that's just what you're being shown, that's and
they're having a good time, but like, don't publicize it, guys. Come on, we got a bad enough PR problem as it is.
Well, but I think that's I talk, in my job, I talk with a lot of old people. And again, you could go back to like your 3-sided thing there. Everything I feel like, politically, like how people perceive the world, like everything goes back to how fast information spreads and zero accountability. And then there's an algorithm showing you what, you don't necessarily get to decide what you see. And so if that's what's being shown and then that's the negative stuff, and these kids don't know any better. Like and I know for a fact, because you also were in the Marines, that if there was as much photo, video, phones, all the things that are around now, there would be so much more bad videos and pictures and all the bad shit that we did out there. But these kids don't know any better just because that's their age and they're vulnerable, you know. They're just making bad decisions. So that's why that is, I think, you know. But I think just the quickness, the speed at which information travels, like that's how you can have like a bad rap immediately, you know.
Yeah.
And there's no accountability, there's no, you know, oh, I was wrong, like I take it back, like, you know.
I wish there were. You know, I've read the book Extreme Ownership, and that, which is just basically having extreme accountability and owning up to everything. Even if it isn't yours, you could still decide to own up to it and take responsibility. I mean, that's a professional work thing, but that's interpersonal too, and certainly shouldn't be bound by the deer woods by any stretch. Gary Vaynerchuk said this at some point: reputation is currency. And our world is really small. Like, the hunting world is tiny, dude. There's no degrees of separation. We all know Kevin Bacon. He's like, it's like right there, you know, metaphorically speaking. And if I try to repeat that to myself often, like, reputation is currency. So I try to give more than I take. I try to be helpful where I can. I try to be understanding. I try to be a good listener. And all of that is what matters the most, which is effort and the intentionality behind it. I'm trying, and that matters. Some people don't try and they don't care. And I often think about parenting. I don't mean to keep going back to that much, but oh man, I don't know if I did a good job today. I tried this and I tried that. Like, if you're thinking about it consciously and you're making the effort, that is what inherently makes you good as a parent. That is inherently what can make you good as a conservationist, steward of the outdoors, deer hunter. Like, you should care and try to make a positive impact and a good difference. And a lot of people do. Like, a lot of people are volunteering. They're helping, you know, with mentorship programs. They're doing good work. They're helping their neighbors, like, chop down trees, even if it's for selfish reasons to get permission on their property. There's still a lot of good that goes into that, potentially. Like, we volunteer on Waukesha County Land Conservancy properties here as a business. It's like something that we are proud to be doing. We help with their Christmas tree stuff every year. We donate revenue to them. Like, we're trying. We're trying to be. My thesis is, if, like, Okayest Hunter goes belly up or I leave this world, that the second's guaranteed. The former, I don't know, probably could happen. I don't know when. I'm being pessimistic apparently, but I hope people think back and go, man, that dude was really, he left a positive impact. Like, I want to be better because of what I saw there, whether it's me or the brand. Like, that's like kind of like how I want to leave things, you know, like the Marine Corps, leave it better than you found it. So how do you live that stuff? How do you actually bring that through? It's hard, man, because we're all wired to be selfish. Like, that's normal. Some people are just more selfish than others. I have more ego than others. And yeah, are we talking about deer hunting or life, or what do we real mean?
I think it's all intertwined. And, you know, it's funny, you keep bringing up these books, and you were talking about, like, leave things better than you found it, and, like, the Marine Corps and whatnot. And the one that always sticks with me, and I think it applies 100% here, because when you say that, like, how, and it just kind of, like, it dawned on me, or, like, came full circle, is, like, for me, as, like, I would rather be a better mentor or a better friend or a better example, you know, to somebody, like, in the woods, or, you know, as a hunter, or, you know, whatever, than I would be, then I would then to be a better hunter, you know, then I would rather be remembered for all of that than the one buck, or to kill all these big bucks and just be an asshole, you know. And I think, you know, the book Leaders Eat Last, like, it's come up at work, it's come up, but, like, that book is, like, steeped in just, like, essentially being in the Marines, like, you know, like, the further up the chain you further up the chain you go, the more shit you have and the less time you have. So, you know, everybody goes before you that's subordinate.
Yep. There's a Ego is the Enemy talks about the blank canvas strategy, and it's about like finding your way in the work world if you're younger and blank canvas. I forget the specifics, but you could Google it or chat GPT and you'll probably find out if you type in that plus the book name, you'll figure it out. But it's like serve others, do things for others, put others first. And I think it was Lyndon Johnson had done that strategy politically speaking, and he became one of the youngest members in the Senate floor in one of the shortest periods of time ever. And all he did was go around and help everybody else. And like, I don't know if that's because you're building equity, compounding equity and social currency in doing that. But at the end of the day, like it's a little bit of reciprocity that starts to happen, and that's not the goal. The goal is to just simply want to do good work and do good for people. That's the goal. But what happens as a byproduct is you end up getting scaffolding built up around you in such a way that like you couldn't do if you were take, me, selfish, big deer versus, hey man, you need help dragging a deer? I'll be around. Like I'll come help you. I don't care what it is. Like that means more to people than, hey man, I got a big deer. Like, aren't you proud of me? It's just a different dynamic. And there's probably more of those people in our industry than we realize. It's just that 1% that's louder about look at the big one I got. Look at it. It's like that Nickelback song. Look at this photograph. Except we all do that anyways with trail cams. But I'm not trying to piss anybody off in this conversation either. If you feel triggered, look in the mirror.
Yeah, and we had a bunch of those conversations, over this past week at NRA show about like people's motivations, right? It's like the silent assassins, right? The amount of people, it's like if you have to like ask for validation, or if you have to say, look at me, then you're probably not the guy,
Right.
But those guys that are just there, like nodding their heads, and because we all know those guys, and there's guys that are in the industry that they pop up every now and then, but like when they speak, you listen, and they kill multiple deer in multiple states, but they're not out there telling you how great they are. Mm-hmm. They're just doing it, and they're like, well, I don't know. I just put in a lot of hard work, and it's never, oh yeah, he came in and I was doing this, and
I did it perfectly, textbook. I did it exactly. Yeah, okay, and maybe that's true. Like I don't know, whatever. But the guys that are like. Matt Strime's a funny example of this. He's a big man. He's not a little fella. And he's like, man, I was always the guy at the bar that was just trying to mind my own business, quiet. And like everyone always wanted to sort of fight with me because I was so big. And there's always these loud talking guys that were rah, trying to sort of fight. And he'd like just lay them out, dude. It's like, watch out for the quiet ones. They'll beat the shit out of you. It's the guy that says he can beat you up that certainly we all know he can't. He runs he's all bark, no bite. But the ones that are just quiet will rip your face off.
Yeah. Very, very good analogy.
Yeah. I might be the louder guy,
So I had written down, I think you kind of like went through it a little bit, but I was going to say, so over these years, so you're coming up on a decade and a half here, if you say 2012. Mm-hmm. So what are the biggest lessons that you've learned like about the industry, and then the biggest lessons that you've learned in hunting from having all of these conversations?
I think from an industry standpoint, I don't know, could you fine tune that question a little bit more maybe?
Well, I think that we think of, I guess if you're, I think for me, guys that I like, even to the past couple of years, I'm like, hey, do you want to come to the HA show? Like, and they're like, kind of like what you said, like how, like kind of small it is, or they thought it would be bigger, or they, I think, you think that everybody that works in the industry like just hunts all the time, and it's, hell, some of these guys don't even hunt. They don't, some of them are just marketing guys, like not like the dirty side of the industry, but just like the hunting industry in general. Like what you thought in 2012 and now working not only with like what you do now, but I'm pretty sure your day job is intertwined with the industry as well. Yeah. How has your perception changed from what you thought in 2012 to now?
That's tough to answer because there's two moving targets in that question. I was really immature and I didn't know anything back then, so my perception would have been inaccurate anyways, because now I've gained so much experience having worked as a professional on this stuff. So like, I don't even know what my perception would have been back then. I was very much receptive to all the marketing to a high degree. Like, big brands meant something to me. Like, I was like, ooh, that's a big brand. Ooh, that's a big name. Ooh, that product is the thing. Like, I thought certain products were like silver bullets. So I think I was pretty naive earlier on about everything. And now I've seen I'm like helping bring things to market, and it's quite different like now, and it's not bad per se, like that's not the point, but I think one of the things that I don't know if the question was what surprised me or what have I learned, but big companies, just because they're a big brand and they have a lot of followers, even if there's a lot of money there, oftentimes they have tiny marketing teams or tiny, like they don't have a lot of resources or dollars. And hunting is incredibly seasonal, much like a landscaping business would be. It's like all your money comes at one point, which makes managing cash flow really hard. And if for those that know how to manage cash flow, like it's tough. And when you only get money one time a year, which for hunting, 70% of it comes in Q4. So October through December, right? Or whatever Q4 is. I'm getting tired. Then you have all this money in January. So you have to make all your decisions for the rest of the year where you won't see that money come back until September through December. It's tough. So then when guys like us are like, oh, I want a brand partnership or something, like those deals are happening, those conversations, your ability to even get into someone's spreadsheet to be considered for part of a budget, that conversation happens in like November, December, but you can't figure that out until the books close for the year. So then you're kind of like March, April, in some cases. It's usually January, but it can stretch. And just having like an awareness of how the industry works from a macro standpoint can help with some of the delusion we might have as youngsters about like when even is the appropriate time to have that conversation. Who should I be reaching out to? And moreover, how can you actually help that brand? Do you think these big brands need your 50,000 followers? Do you think that they care about that? That's nothing for some of these brands. They don't need that for them to succeed. They don't need your tiny brand to succeed. And I'm being maybe a little harsh in some ways right now, but I'm speaking to myself a little bit from when I was younger about like, that's not, numbers matter to back something up. It's your receipt to show that you've got the chops for something and that you have validated it, but alignment matters more, or how you can help someone matters more. Like if a brand sucks at doing activations in person on like boots on the ground, grassroots, experiential marketing stuff, and you're really good at that and you have an audience there, like that's probably a better connection than trying to pitch your social media to some big brand that's got a great social media following, So it's just thinking about those types of things as I've navigated this there. It's like, it makes way more sense and it's far more simple than you could imagine. It's the naivete that seems to make it feel like, you probably are trying harder than you need to sometimes. But if anyone who knows me listens to this, like I was the same kid on the basketball court playing 21 that had to take 8 shots to make 1 basket. So I just had to work really hard to hustle to get the ball more times than everyone else to take my shots, versus a guy that could swish a 3. Now that I'm seasonal more, I still got the spirit of that hustle, but I can probably make some more 3s these days because I've gotten so many reps in. So I don't have to like be so feisty.
And then on the hunting side, we kind of talked about the experiences over inches maybe. But again, from 2012 to today, and having hundreds upon thousands probably of conversations in the space, like what have you learned, or how has your like perspective changed?
In terms of like being a deer hunter in the woods, or
or like maybe like what you have to prove, or like what success is, or
yeah, I don't know. We're on a journey as hunters, and there's the stages of a hunter's journey. So you can come in and out of certain stages. They're not chronological. Like you could progress one to one and come back to another. Like it's a mess, and that's life. But it is a little bit like high school in that you come in as a freshman and you might think you need to wear, I don't know what brands people wear anymore because there's so many, but like back in my day, if you weren't wearing Abercrombie, you weren't a cool kid kind of thing. If you weren't wearing a puka shell necklace that looked like anal beads on around your neck, you weren't a cool kid. It's like stuff like that. And you cared about it so much. Your hair, your style, how you carried yourself. By the time you're a senior, you're like, I don't give a shit, dude. I'm going to college. I'm going to Marine Corps. Whatever you're going to do, like, you're doing a different thing. Like, you don't care anymore. You're rolling out of bed wearing whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit what brands. I'm wearing a white T-shirt. No one cares. And you go through that progression. It's like you can't even help it. You have to go through the progression to realize it doesn't matter. I don't care about anything. Like, in terms of, like, I care deeply about things, but I don't care about how people judge me for that stuff. Like, I don't know if that has to do with more of being a grown man or a deer hunter, but it's not like I need to wear a certain brand of hunter. I'm not wearing it for you or for Instagram or even for the deer. I'm just trying to sit still and be warm and comfortable. Like, I don't care. So I've been rocking the same flannel for years because at this point, I'm a little superstitious. I think it's my lucky flannel. So at one point, I'm going to fucking outgrow the thing, and that's going to be embarrassing. I'm going to be a fat guy, little coat, but I can't find that damn flannel anywhere else, so I keep wearing it. You just stop caring about that. Now I care more about, like, doing good, propping others up, giving back. Like, those are the things that I care about. And I don't care that people see it or not. That's not the point. The point is that I need to know that, like, that I'm doing what I want to be doing, that I'm doing the good that I expect to be doing, that I'm being the change I seek to make in the world, as the quote would go. What about you, man? Like, I don't know, has shit changed for you? You've been at it for a while.
No, I think I came into this with, I think I've gotten much better as a hunter. Like, I think I've like been able to like put a lot of things together. But I've not cared. Like, I think I wanted at some point to like be better, like to try to like target bigger bucks or whatever. And I still like go back and forth, but the reality of it is that in the like most real sense of the word, it's always the cliche of not me versus the deer, it's me versus me. Mm-hmm. And I'm only like seeking the validation that I get from the woods. Like when I go to a spot and I set up and I've never been there before and the deer shows up and I was right, then I win. You know, like that's what I'm chasing. And that's why I don't really care about trail cameras. That's why I don't, you know, because I think that gives like, I think that gives like a balance of like false hope, right? Because, you know, maybe you can obsess about something that's not there, or you can try and figure it out. And some people like to play that game. But I also think that there's a lot of, I think, and I don't know who said it on the podcast, but I would agree with them that a lot more deer survive because of trail cameras than get killed, because a very good deer that's not the biggest one on camera gets to walk because the bigger one is out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just like you not shooting the buck that I want to drag out with you, I would rather be surprised and in the moment have to make that decision whether to shoot that deer or not than be like, well, there's a bigger one out there, I'm going to let him walk, not even pick up my bow. You know, those types of things, you know. I just love bow hunting, and I that hasn't changed in the least bit.
That's the jam right there, dude. I as much as you seek that validation of making all the right choices when it all lines up and the deer does what you anticipated that the deer would do to a certain degree. Maybe it's exact, maybe it's close to, but I love that because you can be doing everything right and not get the validation. That just kind of sucks because then you just don't even know. And then you're like, well, fuck, I must have done it wrong. And maybe you just didn't even catch a glimpse of movement. And for all you know, you were 100% right and just never got the confirmation. But what I chase is presence. And I don't mean presence like Christmas presents. I mean presence as in like living in the moment. I don't know. The only two places I get the level of presence that I'm seeking in today's incredibly noisy, overstimulated world is getting on the floor with my kids, not literally, but sometimes like getting on their actual level, locks me in with them, and I'm like ripped out of my world and I'm put into theirs, and that's like the childlike spirit comes back, and that feels exciting. The only other place I know where to get that is the deer woods, and I say deer woods, the woods. Like I become a kid again, and it's really important for me when I'm out there to just soak it in, man. Like let the rays of the sun hit you, soak in the shitty weather, the good weather, the bad. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I got rained on in a thunderstorm on a like October hunt one year. It was super weird. It was like hailing. I was like, I probably shouldn't be out here. Like I was concerned I was going to get struck by lightning. It was probably poor choice, but at that point I was like, what am I going to do? Climb down? I'm already out here. Like whatever. Death by Lightning, I think, is a series on Netflix. That's kind of how I felt. It's like, well, if that happens. And at some point, it's like, you know, you have this umbrella over you, not literally, but maybe you don't have an umbrella with you at all, and you're just in this downpour of life, and you're trying to not get wet. So you're covering with your hood or your hat or your shirt. And at some point, it's just like, just fucking soak in the rain. And just being in the woods is like, whether it's the suck or the joy or anything in between, I'm present and I'm aware of the presence, which is also a thing for me. And when I have that moment of awareness of presence, I get the smirk on my face. I'm like, this is the fucking point. Sorry if you're not supposed to swear on your show, but that's the point for me. So all the other stuff, when I say I don't care, like I don't care about any of that. I care about just living in this freaking moment. Why would I care about all the other stuff? What a miserable life it would be to have to care about all that other stuff.
Well, and, you know, back to the point of, like, somebody else's deer, or, like, to the scrutinize over, should I shoot this one or not? Like, I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, I like to just let it be my decision in the moment. Like, how do I feel about this deer? Like, if I'm excited, I'm going to shoot it. If not, then I won't, you know, but not for anybody else but me. And that is what I guess what I'm seeking out there. And I got to ask you, like, for you, have you messed around with traditional archery at all? And because you said you feel like a kid, like for me, that is the ultimate being 12 years old again.
Not since I was a kid. My dad had one. I shot it when I was a kid. I doubt that I was any good, but I hit the target. But no, and I haven't because I respect it enough to know that it's going to take amount of practice that I'm not at a stage in life where I can handle that right now. Maybe my kids are less dependent, where they don't need me to get every single thing for them at all times because they're little. Then I'm trying to get them involved more too. So like, there's a little bit of that they'll come along with me more, but I'm struggling to find time to do basic things in my household. So like, I'm not going to hunt with. If I shot one, it'd just be purely to shoot one. Like I'm not going to take it hunting. Like I would not. I want to maim an animal.
Well, I mean, it was a very long journey for me of just picking wood up and shooting it again, and then shooting for, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years, like at 9 yards in my basement, like down here where the studio is. I'd have on the pool table was the bow and like 4 arrows. And if I came downstairs, I shot 3 arrows. And then I went back upstairs. Like that was just the rule. You know, like the David Goggins, if you go through the doorway, you got to do push-ups, 10 push-ups or whatever. Like that was just the rule, just to get it. And then when my daughter was little, it was like one of the block targets with the little animals. And so I would just say, which one do you want me to shoot? And she'd be like, the moose. Then I'd shoot at the moose and, you know, whatever, whether I hit it or not. But, you know, that was it. And then when I was, like I said, when I missed the turkey with it, you know, to practice that, I had a blind set up in the backyard, and we would sit out there, and she had a little bow, and I had a turkey, old $2 foam turkey decoy that I was shooting at, but then we would pretend that we were hunting, and she would shoot her little bow at it too, you know. But it was a solid 3 years of just shooting in the basement before I decided I was going to go out and try and hunt with it. Yeah. And it took me 2 more years to even get drawn back on a deer. So I mean, it was a
long journey.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but
how do you feel when you do it, you know?
But the fun of it is with a compound bow, every shot you're expecting to make a perfect shot, because you just line up this and line up this and line up this. And when you make a bad shot, the world is over. You can't believe that you missed. With a traditional bow, you're painting all the way around the target. But when you make that one great shot, you can't believe it. But you make a bad shot, and you're like, man, I think I can get it on the next one. I think I can. It's just like being a kid again. And so when you said you feel like you're like being a kid, like to me, that's what shooting a traditional bow is. And it's like I haven't switched to full trad. Like I love shooting that bow, and I have enough respect for it too. But it's just like it's one of those things where I just really enjoy like shooting it. And so like maybe I hunt with it, maybe I don't. But shooting it just as like a release is way more fun than shooting a compound. 1,000 times more fun.
My cousin, Jeremy Clark, he's one of the best deer hunters I know personally. And I would pit him against any of the greats in the industry that we're aware of. He's one of the guys you would probably consider an unknown killer. Like everyone's like, oh, who's someone that no one knows that we could talk to? He's one of those people. I don't know if he did it because he's my cousin. He finally felt like he wanted to like be on the show. But Derek interviewed him on the Dropping Pins podcast this last season. It's one of my favorite episodes ever because I think Derek's one of the best hunters I know too. And Derek's a great interviewer. He's a teacher. He asks good questions. But my cousin Jeremy, he just goes in like blue jeans, a sweatshirt. He puts his trad bow, his longbow around his shoulder, and he goes in the woods, and that's all he has. He doesn't bring anything else. So when I went hunting with him the first time, he's like, I'm like getting all my stuff. I got like my pack, my bow, all this stuff. He's like, you good? Like where we're going. Like he's like, I don't know if you need all that. Maybe leave the pack. You're gonna get pretty sweated up. It's gonna be rough. And he's like, here, hold my bow. Like, what does this feel like? I was like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, it's pretty great. And I got my big clunker, my compound. It was pretty cool. So yeah, he's like, man, when are you gonna do it? I was like, it's gonna happen. Just give me some time, buddy. He's like, how is he, like 8 years older than me or something? Maybe 10, something like that. He's a fucking killer. He's a killer. It's cool what he's done with what he's done. He's got a lot of big deer on public land. He's very much like a whitetail adrenaline style hunter with a longbow.
Bear makes them. That longbow they have is really nice. We gave one away a few years ago. You ought to have them send you one just to dink around with.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'll have to talk to JC over there.
Yeah.
I think they were working with Boyer for a little bit. I'm not sure if they still are or not. You should talk to Matt Morris, the guy that hosts the Bowyer podcast. He builds trad bows out of all sorts of different types of wood species. It's pretty cool. He knows to do.
Yeah, I would love to do that. And I feel like that's one of those rabbit holes where like you just never quit. Like it would be like one of those things where you make one and it's like good, but then you're like, oh, I got to make another one because this one will be better, and then you'll make it and then it'll crack. And then
I'm like secretly hoping I get one from him someday because it would mean a lot to me for starters. But like, how cool! Yeah, he'd probably be a really good guest for you. He's a really good dude, and he hunts bear and stuff. He does way cooler shit than us. Yeah, here.
But yeah, I'll we can wrap this up. I'll let you off of here so you can get on. You got a vacation coming up, you said?
Yeah, going to the Dells with the kiddos. The Wisconsin Dells is the water park capital of the world. It's really close. It's like an hour away, and there's like a hotel that's actually not. It's like 10 minutes from my house, but it's I think it's more expensive to go to that stupid water park hotel than it is to go to the whole frickin' kit and caboodle up on the Dells. So we're just gonna pack up and go there for the weekend. Get some vitamin D through the sunroom of one of the hotels and get some water and get out of the cabin fever stuff. So the kids are super jacked about it. Every day they wake up and it's not a day to leave to the Dells. They're like confused that another day it's not the day.
Heck yeah, dude.
I'm like, no, it's not. It's Thursday, guys. It's Thursday. So that's why Thursday wasn't going to work. But yeah, it's good to catch up, and hopefully I answered all the questions.
Yeah, it's a good one. So you mentioned your cousin's episode on the Dropping Pins podcast. So if we were going to listen to the Okayest Hunter podcast, what's your favorite episode? Which one would you direct people to?
Well, I don't know if I have a favorite one. I do have a lot of fun doing the deer camp episodes. It's a bit of a drunk fest. So like I wouldn't listen with your kids present, but if you want to get a real like look under the hood of who Eric Clark is, probably be a good one. Just because I'm full tilt on that, I'm not really holding anything back. And my goofy high school buddies that come to deer camp, like they got all the dirt on me, and they have no problem trying to air it out on a public podcast. So it's a good time. So I would say don't listen to those ones. Anything other than that, just find what you think it would strike a chord. Honestly, they're all off the cuff. They're all, just us being us. So the ones where it's just me, Greg, and Derek are fun because when we don't have a guest to like try to navigate, asking questions and all that, it's probably a little more natural. If we have a guest, they're fine, but it's more about that guest and that topic than us just being us. So if you want to get a good feel for who Okayest Hunter is, any episode where it's just either me and Derek or me, Derek and Greg or whatever is probably more natural to understand our vibe.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate it. And we'll have to catch up in person here soon again.
Yeah, you bet.
All right. Later, man.